Hi, I'm Jody from writerslife.org, and today we'll be talking about the downside to self-publishing your book. When you finally finish your book, and I mean really finish it, you've edited, polished, and believe it's in the best shape it can be in, you now have a huge decision to make. Making the decision to self-publish your novel, or to send it off to traditional publishers, or try to get an agent is a tough one. Nowadays, most authors feel particularly disheartened by the idea of sending their manuscript off to publishers and agents. Not only does it take a lot of research and work, but they then have to wait, often more than 6 months to see if they have been successful, which, as we are all aware, is extremely unlikely even if your book is pretty good. Because of this, many new and even established authors choose to self-publish their novels. It seems like the most obvious option. However, before you make that choice, it's important to understand the process and be aware that there are downsides to it too. So here are some of the downsides to self-publishing your book. It's expensive. If you think you can self-publish your book without a budget, you're wrong. At the very least, if you want your book to be taken seriously, you need to have it professionally edited and have a designer create a cover for your book. You then need to decide whether to just publish it digitally or have physical copies printed, which you can sell yourself or use a print-on-demand service. And of course, there are plenty of other ways you can end up spending money on your book. Having a marketing budget, for example, is particularly useful. To self-publish properly, you're looking at a couple of $1,000 at least. Do you have the money to do it? It's confusing. Learning how to self-publish your book isn't as simple as it sounds. If you just want to do the bare minimum and upload your book for sale on a platform such as Amazon, then you might find this relatively hassle-free. However, unless you are incredibly lucky, you aren't very likely to sell many copies of your book. The more time and effort you put into learning the tricks of the trade, the more likely it is you'll see your book's sales rise. This means knowing how to do everything: social media, SEO, website building, blogging, and more. It's time-consuming. The amount of time you need to dedicate to self-publishing your book really does depend on how successful you want to be. There are endless ways you can try to sell more copies of your book, and the more time you have, the more you can explore these. But if you are time poor and impatient, you might find this quickly becomes stressful and frustrating. It needs marketing. There are so many ways you can market your self-published book, and often it's a case of trial and error when it comes to finding what works for you. However, many writers discover the role of the salesperson tiresome and intimidating. Are you up for the challenge? It involves a lot of non-writing activities. If you self-publish, you become your own promoter, your own account manager, your own agent, your own marketing team. You are everything, and many of the activities you do won't be sitting in your cozy writing space being creative. Some writers thrive on this, others absolutely hate it. It's hugely competitive. Lastly, there is no denying that the market for self-published books is overly saturated. Trying to make your book stand out from the crowd, even if you do everything right, can be incredibly difficult. You might find that despite all of your hard work, you still get nowhere, which can be a far worse feeling than receiving a rejection letter or being ignored by an agent. So there you have it. There is no point in deluding yourself into thinking that self-publishing is easy. It's about as hard to make a success of your self-published book as it is to get an agent or a publisher to take on your work. However, one thing that is universally true is that you are far more likely to achieve your goals if you really push yourself and do everything you can to make your book a success. So are you up to the challenge? If you're interested in learning more about this subject, click the link at the top of the description and check out Write, Publish, Repeat, the ultimate guide to quick and easy self-publishing. With this, you'll learn multiple places to self-publish your work. Sure, Amazon is great, but you don't want to overlook other places too. The important details of the cover. Get this wrong and it's game over. The best ways to market your book. Let's face it, if you don't get eyes on your book, you won't sell any of them. And so much more. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, turn on our notifications, and subscribe down below to be entered to win one of our products in our weekly giveaway. Be sure to visit writerslife.org for more tips and tricks, and I'll see you next time.